let's talk stock. So you are investing against the grain. You like to do a lot of investing. You like to study. You are very conservative in some cases. But I also noticed that you said that you do go kind of semi all in on big companies, like you said, Amazon and others. So you're very similar to me, but you're very conservative in the way you look at the market and so forth. Now, so you probably won't answer this, but what's going to happen to the stock at the end of this couple weeks from now, given the production and delivery numbers, and what will happen for the second half of this year? So, we're expecting it to be record numbers, record delivery, but it could already be built in. Do you have any sense of what might happen after Sunday?
Yeah, so just kind of take a step back so you guys understand my biases. So my channel, Investing Against the Grain, when I created it, if you look at my very first episode ever, which all right, is honestly embarrassing to look at, but if you did watch it, it's the reason I called the channel Investing Against the Grain is because the whole point was because I realized that diversification is stupid.
Yeah.
And in that
Yes.
video, I have a clip of Warren Buffett saying
Yes.
diversification is a hedge against ignorance. Something like that.
Mhm.
I might be butchering it. But so that was my whole point. And so that's when I realized like to have conviction to really understand a company and to go all in into it. Anyway, so just to let you guys know what I'm about to say, I'm all in Tesla. So I have a bias. So
Mhm.
just putting that out there, and I'm aware of that. But with that said, I think as long as Tesla gets to decent, I mean, it's going to be record numbers. I think no matter what, but as long as it's decent and it tracks towards getting to 1.8 to 2 million by the end of the year,
Mhm.
and it feels like
Mhm.
we're on that path. I think what's really going to move Tesla is what's going to happen Friday with PCE coming out. I think
Mhm.
that's what's going to move things because if PCE comes out and it's say just at I think it's zero point 0.4 month over month is what the expectations are, or even lower. And if Tesla just does what they have to do, they don't need to blow it out, then I think the market rallies. I don't think it's just a Tesla. I think the market's going to rally. I don't think that this Tesla rally we've had is baked in because of what we think these numbers are going to be. No, I think it's people seeing what's happening, seeing the Tesla story, seeing that, oh, these OEMs are willing to license something or work with Tesla. That's a big deal because now that door's open. Now, what else does that mean? That's also them kind of bending the knees, kind of giving supremacy to Tesla. Like, there's a lot of things that means. And so I don't know. I think I think Tesla should easily be a a $1 trillion stock right now.
Mhm.
Obviously, a market is right in any given point in time, but I think it's extremely undervalued, especially with what we know the worst to be behind us with inflation, with the Fed pausing, with whatever's happening, and you create like the macro seems to almost be calming down a little bit compared to where we were this time last year. This time
Well,
last year is like every other day was a black swan event. So
okay, so again, you're whenever I talk to you, it's like I always think that you're conservative because you were conservative a few months ago. Now you're being a little
well,
bit more. So
yeah. Well, I think what you're referring to is when we were talking in
and
January,
everything.
or yeah,
Yep.
January, February, and yeah, I was, and I was telling everybody I was hoarding cash and all that, and
Yes.
then and then I have it on my YouTube channel. One of the videos, I don't remember which one, but I think we were at like I don't know, maybe like 140, maybe like high 130 something, and I said that it seems like there's a tide has changed. I literally tweeted too. I said like there's something in the air, something seems different, and I
Mhm.
went ahead and deployed all my cash that I
Nice.
had. And so luck, it's just luck. Like it's all it
Sure.
was.
Yeah.
I was just saving in case something got worse, but it seemed like things weren't getting worse. Inflation was coming further
You
and further
called it right.
down, so I got
Well, okay,
lucky.
so let me ask you this question. So this is what people are saying to me. So you made a statement saying that you think that the stock is $1 trillion stock right now, which many of us, including me, believe the same thing. But what I hear back from people, these traders, I call them, and they're self-described traders. It's okay, but they'll say, but Herbert, don't you know that the earnings for 2024 for 20 is going to be $5? So now you multiply that times 50, which is a fair PE ratio, given the fact that this is a vehicle in an automobile company. and 50 times 5 is $250. So we're basically priced correctly at this point right now. That's what I keep hearing. The reason why it's now $5 of PE ratio for 2024 is because don't you know that they reduced the prices? They had price cuts, and so there's margin compression.
Yeah, and that's not a bad analysis to make if you're thinking about next year. But if you're thinking that end of this year FSD might be solved, if you're thinking that next year we might have a much bigger TAM because of Cybertruck, if you're thinking, about all these other things, about the energy business really taking off, like if you think about all these other things and you're not factoring that in because we don't know, we can't actually map that out right now because we don't have the real data on it. Well, then to me, again, that's where the delta lies, and that's where the money's to be
Exactly.
made. Because you could have
Yep.
made the same argument at 150. You could have made the same
Yeah.
argument at $100. You could, and you would have had a valid argument.
Yeah.
But how you tell me a 50 PE for a company that might solve autonomy in the next year and a half makes sense? I would tell you you're insane. So
I don't even need autonomy to be solved. I mean, I just know that even just energy and auto, and just even auto, like you said, I like the way you said it, which is if you take a look where we are today and you think where you're mapping it out, but you're not taking consideration, um, the launch of, uh, the Giga Mexico will be the following year, but everything scales up, right? Everything starts to rise, and then they might change the prices again and raise them. As you lower the cost to build the cars, you can have higher margins again. So it's like as if things stay static when everything we know about Tesla is growth, 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 and continued improvement and technology advancements and so forth. So
yeah, and the
yeah,
thing too
okay,
is
yeah,
you don't know when the domino is gonna fall, right?
yeah,
Like I mean,
like a
when
partnership with Ford.
well,
Yeah.
I would say, well, I mean, I mean more so just with the stock, right? Like think back to what was it, 2021 when we broke a trillion. That essentially happened like over the course of 3 days, right? It was right after the Hertz announcement, right? Like the most, I mean, yeah, it was great and exciting, but it was also kind of benign. But that was like
Mhm.
just the straw that broke the camel's back. And that's
Mm.
where the first domino fell. And, people start buying and more people are buying. They see the stock going up. Then there's a little bit of FOMO. And then maybe other firms that had these big blocks of, I want to purchase this amount. So they're slowly happening. Well, okay, let's execute. And you don't know when that happens. You don't know. So that could happen at any moment. And it could be for any random thing. It could be because, I don't know, Russia, Ukraine have a ceasefire deal. It could be because Ford says, okay, we're going to work with Tesla on autonomy. I mean, you don't know what it could be. So, but it could happen at any moment. And if you know, or if you believe, you can't know, but if you believe that Tesla is right about energy storage, they are the leader and they're going to be the leader on EVs. If you know that they are the only ones doing it profitably with really good margins, despite the fact that they're slashing prices and putting pressure on everybody else. If you know, I mean, just on and on. If you know all these things or you believe these things, well, then it's very risky not to be invested. It's extremely risky. So so that's the way I look at it. And again, anyone can make a 1 year argument. Anyone can make a quarter by quarter argument for just the numbers based off of a spreadsheet or an income statement. What you can't see in an income statement is the rate of technology progressing, the rate of iteration of FSD, what's happening with energy store. Like you don't see all that stuff, even on the income sheet, right? There's a lot of deals that have been done with Tesla Energy that we don't see, but we know that are out there.
Yeah.
Thanks to a lot
Yeah.
of great work from a lot of people who follow Tesla. So those are the things, those are the intangibles that will not show up in the PE. And yeah, sorry, I could go on and on, but you get the
Go
point.
on.
Like there are things here that you have to think bigger than just what's comes out every quarter on a
Yeah.
statement.
So earlier I asked you what next big announcement you would think Tesla was going to do. Then I asked you what was we talked about the stock, and you said you think it's about $1 trillion now, but then you started talking about autonomy, right? Which is fine. But I'll tell you my contrarian view, which few people are saying, I think. There's lots of people who believe what I'm going to say, but which is the next thing is going to be the bot. And I think that it's not necessarily an announcement, but you're going to see more and more bot videos in the next month or two. And I think by AI Day 3 September, you're going to see 50 bots, at least over 30. You know how you saw one, then we saw three, then we saw six. Now you're going to see 30 at least. It's exponential. And they can make many of these very easily. We've already confirmed that with, James Dowman, Scott Walter, and John Gibbs, Dr. Know It All, and a few others that I've been interviewing who are bot experts. Making the bots are easy. The only reason they wouldn't scale to 1,000 right now, which they could easily do today, is just because if they think that there's still going to be tremendous changes to
Yeah.
to really perfect it before they want to make 1,000. But they need to make 500 to 1,000 so that they can get the data so they can keep teaching it. And so I think that they're going to wow people, and it's a lot easier than people are thinking. I keep hearing from commenters saying you're dreaming. You're just a fanboy to think bots will not happen for 5 years or longer. And I've interviewed people, and they kept telling me, no, it's here. And every time you hear about the dojo and you're hearing about the progress of FSD, in that video that we just watched with Ashok, he continuously says, oh, and this applies to bots as well. So when you see that reconstruction of the street, the bot is able to reconstruct everything it walks. The street that when it's walking the street, it does the same thing. But if it's inside a house, it can reconstruct it. So now it can basically, factory or something that it'll know where things are because of previous bots walking that lane. So I think that it's going to happen much sooner. We think even sooner than FSD. So I've had a lot of pushbacks when I say that, but I think that it can happen sooner than FSD is solved. Because the bot doesn't need to be like FSD needs to be like everything. It needs to know, 99.9% of all edge cases. There's going to be many edge cases it doesn't, but it needs to know everything, right? It's driving through streets. There's 4 million cars. The bot doesn't need to do that. It just needs to have one job at one factory to go from one spot here, walk 6 feet here, grab this thing and put it over here. And then just repeat that a million times. You can make 1,000 of that. You can use it in Tesla's factory today. And once people see that it's already being used for that, if they want to sell it, they can sell it, but they don't need to sell it. But the point is that it will open everybody's mind that this is a real product that's already available that can already be sold. It does not need to go to your home. It does not need to fold laundry or put away the dishes. It just needs to be able to grab one item in a factory and move it to another. And then they don't need to have the cages because it's safe for them to be around with the industrial robots. Anyways, I think that that's the thing that's going to open up people's minds and make them realize that Tesla's an AI company and they've got a product.
Well, I would say the people who tell you you're crazy are right, but not because of this.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
not because of this. I think you're spot on with this.
Okay.
I think, I mean, just common sense, and you explained it very eloquently there. All it has to do is be able to move a box from here to there. We already know it can move a box from here to there. I
Yeah.
think it was no, investor day. I don't know. There's a video
Hmm.
where they showed the bot grabbing an item, moving it over here. So it can already be useful potentially, right? So I would say it's already beaten FSD in that case because it's such a just doing one little task is all it has to be able
Hmm.
to do to be in production because there's not a safety risk. So you're spot on. Like there's no even
Yeah.
arguing that. And especially with this new acquisition
Yeah.
for the induction charging. I mean, imagine if you just put it like in a small path and it's just constantly charging and it's
Yeah.
just a constant trickle charge, right? It's like, all
Yeah.
right, so I don't need 3 of these to have 8-hour shifts. Like, no, I can have one. So it's like the scalability of that's insane. But no, so yeah, so that's why before I was saying September, because maybe Giga Mexico Nuevo Leon gets announced beforehand. Maybe it does. Maybe it's delayed. Okay, so that would be a big announcement. Cybertruck, I think it'll.
Yes.
I think it might get pushed to Q4. Like
Hmm.
just let's be honest here.
Hmm.
Like just
Hmm.
history. They can't even
Hmm.
start a meeting on time. So let's just say Q4. So maybe that gets pushed off. So yeah, I'm with you. I think this next AI day will be there'll be a lot of stuff going on. It'll be very, I mean, sheesh, the last one, I was coming home from my honeymoon and I was in Greece watching it. Um, I did think I was on a live stream with Farzad watching it, but but yeah. So it was long, it was exciting, but we've seen a lot of new things since then. We've seen the bots building themselves. We've seen multiple bots walking around the factory. So I think this next AI day will be an AI day where they show how they're actually using it internally. I think you're spot on. I think they're going to show us how they're currently using it in the factory to do certain jobs. And they'll show us all other kinds of things, but yeah, the bot I think is a lot easier of a problem not to solve. I mean, to get to 99.9%, it's a much harder problem, right? Because the world is so much more than just roads and street signs, etc. But the difference is a car has to be 99.9. The bot doesn't, like
Yeah.
you said. And
Yep.
so this can just be useful to move boxes, to open
Yep.
my front door, to water the
Yep.
plants, and that's it. And I'm like, all right, well, hey, it's at 0.3% and it's extremely useful.